It's working.
It worked this time. Good.
I love it when technology works and really don't like it when it doesn't. So it is Wednesday, January 15th, 2025 at 5:32 p.m. So we're a couple of minutes late, but we are here. Thank you for being with us, everyone, as we get started. So let me hop in the group on my other computer real quick and tag everyone so they can join us. So today we are talking about anemia. Because we had a request. And if one person is dealing with it, it's very likely that many are, because I find a lot of times that people don't speak up.
Well, and we happen to know of two people specifically
In our close-knit group.
In our group that are dealing with it.
Yep. So we're going to talk about iron deficiency anemia today. We're going to make some food that is going to boost your iron in your, or absorbable iron in your diet.
Without the GI upset.
Oh, so important. Good point. Yes. So as we get started here, please say hello if you are joining us. We'd love to see you. Kara, yay, got the alert. Okay, good, I'm glad. Facebook does some weird things sometimes.
It wouldn't let us start today. I had to back out of everything and start over.
Yep. So we are going to talk iron deficiency anemia. So iron is a mineral that's absolutely necessary for so many things that happen in your body. Iron is the molecule that's in your red blood cells. And those red blood cells carry oxygen to the rest of your body. So if you don't have oxygen to all those other parts of your body, you get tired, you get weak, your muscles don't work well. Problem.
That's a problem, yes.
And many other things can go wrong too, but we have trouble with iron in food. So women specifically, because women have, that time of the month, a cycle, and so they lose red blood cells. So women need more iron than men. So there are other times that you need more as well. If you've had an accident and you've lost blood, if you've had a surgery, if you're healing, there may be other times that anyone needs extra. So let's talk tonight. What are we cooking?
Well, we're cooking spaghetti.
Okay.
Just spaghetti and meatballs.
So, but it is about what we're cooking. What we're cooking is important tonight, and I will explain that here in a few minutes. But Steph, what are we cooking in?
We are cooking in cast iron.
And why are we cooking in cast iron?
Because it is going to boost the iron that you receive by eating.
Because a little bit comes off the pan and into your food.
And then you consume the food. And that is a highly absorbable form of iron.
Especially when you cook something acidic like tomato sauce, it helps your body absorb it better.
Yep.
So spaghetti, before hopefully I won't drop it all over the floor. So if you look at the nutrition facts on the side, hi Katie Lynn. This says iron, there's 2 milligrams of iron in 2 ounces, which is 1 serving of pasta. And that's dry ounces, 2 ounces dry. It's before you cook it. That's 10% of your daily value. So any processed grain product has to be enriched, and it should say that on the front, enriched macaroni product, because we have to put nutrients back in that we are lacking in our diets. So that includes iron, that also includes B vitamins. If you're lacking B vitamins, that can create another kind of anemia that we're not actually going to talk about today, but it is possible. It's just not as prevalent in our dysphagia community as iron deficiency is.
Right.
Because people don't eat meat.
Because meat is hard to eat.
It's hard to puree. It's got more texture. It's hard to get down. It's hard to get down enough.
Now we are making our spaghetti with meatballs, and it's actually these tiny little meatballs that I made back in October.
They're frozen.
They're frozen.
So here's 3. And
But they're
one of them is the size of my thumb, basically.
bite-sized, basically. So maybe in half it would be a soft and bite-sized.
Yeah, perfect.
But to get the iron out of this meal, the increased iron, you don't have to have meatballs.
Right.
The meatballs is going to just increase that much more iron that you will get out of this meal.
Yep.
But you don't have to have it.
So some symptoms
No, Karen.
of iron deficiency are fatigue or weakness, which I mentioned, pale skin, shortness of breath and dizziness, because if you're not getting oxygen to parts of your body that need it, you might be short of breath, especially with any exertion. It doesn't have to be like going up the stairs, although that is an increased risk. It could just be walking across the room when you get shortness of breath that you shouldn't. Your hands and feet being cold. Now, my hands and feet are cold all the time, and mine is not due to my iron.
Did you salt the water?
I did not salt the water yet. So she's going to salt our water. I'll explain this in just a second after I get my other symptoms here. Brittle nails or hair loss is also a sign of iron deficiency anemia. And then this is one that I worry about in especially pregnant women, is something called pica, which is the craving for a non-nutritive substance. So that would be something like dirt or ice. So it's when you eat things that don't have nutrition or you're not supposed to eat, that is a sign of iron deficiency anemia. Oh, hi, buddy. So nice of you to join us.
Oops.
Okay, so we are using a wide-bottomed cast iron skillet to cook our pasta in, if Abe will allow it, because we have a sauce pot
That we were going to use.
but it's never been used here before.
It's an antique and it's not been seasoned yet. We tried to do a quick season and we're not willing to eat what
There's
is cooked
some
in that
some
yet
gunk.
until I season it.
Yeah, some gunk coming off there, so we need to clean it a little better. And then Stephanie talked about seasoning, which is getting it hot, adding some oil, cleaning it again with some salt, getting that all cleaned out, and then seasoning it again and heating it up,
Which really kind of what it's doing is sealing it. So it's not sealed yet.
yeah, and you can see that because it's all dry. You can see the color in there.
And if you don't have cast iron, you can purchase pre-seasoned cast iron.
Yep.
And if you're able to get that, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So
This is not the ideal way to cook pasta because it's going to be hard to dump it. I'll probably pull it out with tongs.
that's what I was thinking too. Yep.
Because this is just kind of risky.
Kara says Lodge is a great brand.
Yes, it is. So I have a lot of Lodge. Not all of them are Lodge. This is Lodge. We have that cast iron that's Lodge. This one's not. I don't remember what this one is.
So cast iron is heavy. Does seasoning prevent oxidation? So yes, it's not about oxidation, it's about rust. So iron rusts. So we want to make sure it's properly seasoned so it doesn't rust. Because that you want to avoid. It should stay black. Okay, so if you are experiencing iron deficiency anemia, we highly, highly recommend you cook regularly in cast iron. You're gonna get a little bit of the iron coming off of the pan in everything that you cook, and we want that to be part of your diet so it can increase the iron in your food, especially foods that are not typically iron rich. So cook everything in cast iron.
If you can.
If you can.
If you can't,
we have another
You know,
solution.
Cast iron, not everyone has cast iron. Not everyone wants cast iron because it's heavy and it's difficult to clean.
Yep.
So
I have another.
So there is an option. There is an iron puck, I guess you could say. They have different shapes.
Yep.
The one we're going to put in the chat is a fish,
Yep.
but it's made out of iron. So you can just drop that in any pot or pan in whatever you're cooking,
Yep.
and it's going to do basically the same thing as having a cast iron.
Yep. So the link should be there. It's an Amazon link. It's a little iron fish. You could also choose the leaf if you want. And then it has instructions on how to keep it clean, but you just drop that in whatever you're cooking. You can add it to your water and then cool your water. And you can use that water in your drinks, your whatever. It's going to help with iron in your diet. And this is a natural way. So cast iron is safe. People have been using it for generations to cook in.
Yeah.
And so Stephanie's got long pasta in this pan, and angel hair typically takes 4 to 5 minutes to cook. We're going to overcook it.
We're going to double or triple.
We are going to save some of the pasta water for pureeing our pasta, which is going to have iron in it because it's cooked in the pan, but also it's going to help with the texture of our blended end product of our food.
Yes.
Does this help with reheating? So for instance, it is a pre-made puree meal and I have it in the oven or on the stove. Could I drop the fish in it while it does? You could. Yep. Yep.
Absolutely.
Great question. So we also recommend other iron-rich foods. So if you can't do meat, that's okay. We recommend enriched. So on the front of your box, it should say enriched, and then you just go look at your label here, and I don't want to tip it upside down because I have it open. And you check out to see where it says iron on your box, and you want to see how much is in here. So you want to throw that back in here?
No.
Okay. So cereal, hot cereal in particular, is extremely rich in added iron. We have to be careful though, because any food that is rich in iron, you want to avoid eating it with anything that has calcium. So dairy, we want to avoid eating our iron-rich foods with our dairy products because your body takes calcium over iron every single second, every minute, every hour, every day of the week. You want to eat your iron-rich foods without any calcium. So make sure that when you have cereal that's enriched with iron, you're not using something like milk. So if you have cream of rice or cream of wheat, make it with water. I know that doesn't sound as appetizing for those of you that like to cook yours with milk, but maybe you can try adding other seasonings like cinnamon or nutmeg, something along that line, or add some fruit or of some kind. Some fruit that is high in vitamin C will help your body absorb the iron because vitamin C attaches to iron and helps you absorb it better. So our tomato sauce, tomatoes are high in vitamin C. Something like spinach and other green veggies are also higher in vitamin C. So we want you to eat those foods. Orange juice is a great option. Lemon's great option. Add those with your iron-rich foods. So Kara says, can you also drop in a crock pot? Yes, you can. Can you do the hot cereal with almond milk? Karen, you can. You just have to be careful that your almond milk is not fortified with calcium because a lot of our milk alternates are fortified with calcium. So you want to get one that is just made with almonds and water if you can. You don't want all the preservatives in there. So it takes a little bit of looking, but they are out there. They're a little bit more spendy, but they're higher quality and they do taste better than.
And here's the deal too. If you really need to make your cereal with some kind of milk, that's fine. Use this kind of stuff for everything, for all of your other cooking.
Yeah.
Use the little puck for cooking all of your other food. You're going to be absorbing more anyway with that.
Yep. I'm going to drop some of these in our sauce.
Good.
Okay. How's that look? Is that pretty good?
I think so.
Okay. All right, and these are frozen, so they're just going to be in our boiling sauce. And then I'll set these aside and we'll get those resealed. So Rhea, if you scroll up in the comments, you will see that I dropped a link for Amazon, and it's a little iron fish. And so that's what they're talking about. You put this little iron fish in your foods, in anytime you boil water, in anything you're cooking, and it helps increase the iron level. Or you can use cast iron to cook in, because it's going to help with adding iron to your food that your body can absorb a little bit better. So don't eat your iron-rich foods with anything that has calcium. And if you're eating iron-rich foods, add something that has vitamin C. So tomato sauce is ours tonight. You can use spinach, like I said, other green veggies like broccoli, your other fruits like citrus fruits, strawberries, all of those are a little higher in vitamin C. So they are great options to help your body absorb more. And we're not talking vitamin C supplements. Vitamin C supplements will not help. You want naturally occurring vitamin C in your food. Very important. You're welcome, Rhea. Okay, so I'm just making sure I hit all my really important points here that I want to get across. So does anyone have any specific questions about iron in a food, in their diet, in your condition, your health condition that you're worried about, anything like that? So iron is imperative for your health. You cannot live without it. Your body typically stores what it doesn't need, or what it doesn't need in something called ferritin. So if you have an iron panel run, your ferritin will be a number that's on that iron panel. So sometimes people tell me, well, my ferritin's low, but the rest of my numbers are fine. Well, that's okay, because ferritin's just storage. If your ferritin's low, it means your body is using what was in storage. So this is not anything to be concerned about, but we want you to have enough in your body that you're not needing to use what's in your stores. If you go long periods of time without replenishing that iron in your diet, your body's going to use all your stores, and then your ferritin's going to get low.
And so you need to replenish. I mean, if you consistently use what you are able to consume, that's fine, as long as you continue to consume.
Yep. So women who are of childbearing years need about 18 milligrams of iron a day. Everyone else needs about 8 milligrams a day, unless you are deficient, and then you need extra. So if you're deficient, you need above 10 milligrams a day all the time, every day. And it's relatively difficult to get iron because it doesn't absorb well. So This is why we enrich foods. That's why if you're a meat eater, we want you to incorporate meat into your diet. A, you need the protein. B, you need the iron.
It's natural iron.
It's naturally occurring, and meat is highly absorbable iron. So you're going to absorb it best from meat. Vegetarian sources of iron do not absorb as well. I haven't even talked about iron supplements yet, and I know some of you are probably curious about iron supplements. So why don't I touch on that while that looks lovely. Is it getting there? Okay.
It's close. It wasn't a minute ago, but
Okay.
because we chose angel hair so that it would cook quicker.
Because angel hair takes like 4 or 5 minutes to cook. So iron supplements. Iron supplements have always scared me. I understand why, Kara.
it can mess with your
They
your
cause
tummy.
nausea. They cause constipation or diarrhea. They can make your stools black, which is something we're concerned about for people that may have GI bleeds. So we don't like that. You have to take an iron supplement on an empty stomach so that you can absorb it. And that's fine and dandy, except that they're really harsh on your stomach. So any of you on here that have taken an iron supplement, whether it's a pill or a liquid form, it's hard on your tummy. I'm sure you've had GI issues. It's really hard on your tummy. Yes, it is. So I typically, as a dietitian, if someone's on an iron supplement, I will go talk to them and see if we can get them off of that supplement and figure out a more natural way to get iron into their diet, because it's so hard on you. And then if your tummy's upset because you're taking this supplement, then you don't want to eat, and then that's totally defeating the purpose also. Tablet and liquid supplements, it depends on you, Rhea, and if you tolerate. The people that I've seen, regardless of whether it's a tablet or a liquid, people don't tolerate them in general. Or they take them with food because they cause GI upset and then you don't absorb it anyway. So I'm not a fan of iron supplements. I would rather we find you a more natural way, like using a cast iron pan to cook, getting that iron fish that I dropped in the comments. I'll make a post after our video tonight with that link in it for you to go on Amazon and take a look at, because let me tell you, anything we can do to get extra iron into your diet through more natural sources is going to make you feel better. So I had asked my computer about some benefits of cast iron. So I'm going to read you what it says. So cooking with cast iron pans naturally increases the iron content of your food, especially with acidic foods like those with tomatoes or a higher moisture content. So if you're something in your pan has more gravy or sauce or broth, you're going to get more iron into your food. It's also non-toxic. This is one of the safest kinds of pans to cook in because it doesn't have the newfangled non-stick stuff in it that some of these pans do that can cause other problems. It doesn't release harmful chemicals when you heat it up. It just releases, that looks delightful,
Doesn't it?
it just releases iron. So they heat evenly, they're durable, they last forever. I know people that pass them down through generations in their families because they're durable.
And look, once they're seasoned
Yep.
or sealed,
Yep.
is
So
something else.
I have known people that cook, they leave their cast iron pan on the stove all the time. They put a little oil in it, they heat it up, they cook their food. They put their food on the plate. They take a towel or a paper towel and they wipe out the food and they put it back on the stove. Because it's safe to do that, which seems a little crazy because we've been taught that's not safe. Well, with cast iron, we get it hot, we add oil. If it's really gross and weird, you get it hot, you add oil, you add salt, you let it cool a little bit, you scrub it out.
Yeah, you really shouldn't use soap on it.
You wipe out the salt. You should not use soap on it. That's true. That's how you can make it not last very long. Get rid of your salt and then add a little more oil and it'll be seasoned. If you're concerned, you add your oil, you stick it in the oven on high heat, and then you turn off your oven. And it's good to go.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm just cutting all of this with scissors because who needs an expensive food processor for soft and bite size? I mean, really.
I love this. This is fantastic.
Soft and bite size right there.
Right there. Easy.
If you don't want the meatballs, don't put the meatballs in.
So the other thing about pasta is I like to save a little bit of the pasta water because now that we've cooked it in cast iron, that water's gonna have a little more iron in it also. And you should always save your pasta water when you're blending because it's gonna help with the texture of the food. So that's lovely.
Yeah. Do you have your little processor or no?
I forgot it.
Okay. So if I keep
forgot it
doing
today.
this, it's going to be minced and moist also.
Yep. Now it might take you forever.
It would, but if you have, I could make minced and moist in there, just stopping it before.
The BlendJet does have a pulse function, but I can't remember how to get it there.
I don't know how to get it off of that.
Once it's on there, it's stuck there.
Once it's on pulse.
So I think it's a double tap, but you can double check with your user's manual. Hi, Amber.
Amber, hello.
So pleased to see you.
Yeah. But this is getting pretty close, and I really haven't done a lot.
And you could just take a plate and a fork,
You can.
get it
Mash
through the tines of the fork. It'll get to level 5 IDDSI minced and moist.
Yeah. I'm going to do a pureed version.
Let's do it. Okay. So for those of you that are new, I'm going to bring out the IDDSI framework for you. So we have solids and we have liquids, and the levels do overlap. So this is, she made it a level 6, which is soft and bite-sized. If we look at our handy dandy little Simply Thick IDDSI cutting board, it's about 15 millimeters by 15 millimeters is a soft and bite-sized size for that level. So the meatball in there was pretty darn close because they were pretty small. Now the minced and moist is a 4 millimeter by 4 millimeter size, and it's much, much smaller. So it should go through the tines of your fork. So the pasta here is about a level 5. The meat would need to go a little bit smaller, but your fork will do that on.
Yeah, you just mash it.
Just mash it. Yep. So we're going to do a level 4, which is pureed. Next, also as a liquid that's extremely thick. So it holds on a spoon and plops off a spoon. If it goes on a fork, it won't drip through the tines of the fork for pureed. And our handy dandy cutting board has pureed on there as well.
And I'm taking pasta water.
Yep.
And adding it.
You can cook almost anything in cast iron. And so I want to encourage those of you that are struggling with iron deficiency anemia to add cast iron into your routine every single day, as many meals a day as you cook, because it's a really safe, effective way to get that iron into your diet. And then maybe you don't need an iron supplement, which would be preferable.
Right. Or you can order that little puck, cook everything with that little fish or leaf.
Yep. So
we've dropped it in the comments.
Yep.
If you're curious what we're talking about.
Yep. And I'll post it later, like I said. So if your iron deficiency anemia gets bad enough, you may need an iron infusion. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A little bit thick.
So anytime you're pureeing pasta, you want to add a little bit of fat and you want to add a little bit of water or liquid. Pasta water is preferable. But because it's a starch, it absorbs liquid and gets thick really, really fast. So if you're pureeing a starch like pasta or rice or potatoes, you're going to need extra liquid at some point. So Steph's adding a little bit more, I think.
I think it's definitely already at a pureed level. Okay. It's not at a smooth puree.
Okay.
So I'm going to take a little bit out just to show you just a traditional.
What a traditional puree looks like. So in nursing homes, this would be a perfect puree. Mm-hmm. It's not completely smooth. They don't get it perfectly smooth in the nursing homes that we work in.
Mm-mm. But some people need perfectly smooth puree.
A lot of you do.
So,
okay.
This is your traditional level 4. I'm going to try to get a smoother.
Okay, I'm going to try to get it close enough here that some of you can sort of see the texture there. I hope you can. So without dropping it on our on our technology. So you can see the texture there. You can see it's piping hot. If you can handle texture, this is going to be just right for you. Now, if you're an IDDSI level 3, otherwise known as liquidized, this is going to be too thick for you. Also known as moderately thick, the National Dysphagia Diet, which was the previous iteration of the dysphagia diet that everyone used, that was considered honey thick liquids. So it's thinner and it would drop off a spoon in a thicker, slow flow. So we have level 4, level 5, and then Steph will get it somewhere between a level 3 and a level 4, because to get it to a perfectly smooth, you might have to get it thinner in order to get it there. Any questions about pureeing pasta, iron in the diet, iron supplements, cast iron, feel free to drop them in the comments.
So this may take a few rounds, and like we always say, blend again.
Yep. And she's using the Ninja for the hot liquid because it opens and releases pressure. If we were doing it in this, we would put a towel over the top so that the pressure could be released while blending it so that it wouldn't explode, because you don't want to put a lid on anything that's going to be hot. Karen, she says, do I need to season the iron fish? It's in the instructions on how to do it. So take a look at the information on Amazon, and it will give you some of that information.
Oh, it's smoother already. So I added more of the pasta water. I'm going to blend one more time, but it is definitely thinner. I mean, smoother already. But it's probably going to get thicker.
The thing with pasta is it gets thicker every time you blend it. And as it cools, it will get thicker also, because that's what starches do. So pureeing pasta is doable, but it sometimes takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of trial and error. But we like blending pasta with sauce. We like adding extra fat, so butter, olive oil, avocado
and olive oil would go great in here. I could add some olive oil, but I think this is going to be good.
We did add olive oil to the tomato sauce. Okay, I have another bowl here for you.
So smooth.
And that's a beautiful level 4 puree, smooth puree. Yeah. The texture difference is clear.
I would say it's still level 4.
I agree. If you need it level 3, you're going to have to add more liquid to thin it out.
And you might need to add broth or something other than the pasta water at this point, because the pasta water is helping it to get thicker too.
The starch from the pasta came off in the water. And so, okay. So I mentioned that anyone who's got severe iron deficiency anemia may need an iron infusion. That happens not fairly often. The most often that I see it is on people who have had a Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, because iron is absorbed in the first few inches of your small intestine after it leaves your stomach. And for those people, that area of intestine has been bypassed. And so they can no longer absorb iron. So many of them end up iron deficient. So that's something I watch out with in anyone who's had a gastric bypass specifically, because we see iron deficiency anemia pop up in them after several years. So typically they need iron infusions regularly for the rest of their lives.
Gotcha.
So anyone who has critical anemia, that would be if you're in the hospital, they would do a blood transfusion for that, because you just need an influx of red blood cells. So that would be the two critical times. Iron infusion less critical. There can usually be time. leading up to that. It's not something you have to do right now, right away. A blood transfusion is. So your doctor would be there and recommending that.
Gotcha.
What are your thoughts on our food?
Delicious.
It's actually fairly smooth.
Try this one. It's
texture.
even smoother.
Oh my goodness, yeah. That's very smooth. So, and that tomato flavor is very rich and beautiful.
Very intense. I actually get more of the beautiful tomato flavor in these than I do in this. Because this doesn't really stick to your pasta.
That's intense how flavorful that is.
It's so good.
Wow.
I would choose this over that.
I'm not surprised.
I know.
You're welcome, Karen. Please let us know if you have any other questions. Okay, so recap. Cook in cast iron. Get that little iron fish if you are needing to add iron, but you can't cook in cast iron for whatever reason. It's heavy, so that could be part of it, is lifting all that.
It is. It's heavy. It's hard to clean. There's a lot of reason why there's light
Cookware.
Yeah.
Eat foods that are rich in iron, meat if you can, enriched fortified foods if you can't. There are a lot of vegetarian type foods that are higher in iron, but they're harder to absorb. So you need to include a vitamin C source, naturally occurring vitamin C source with those foods. Legumes, soy, tofu, higher in iron. So we do like tofu.
We talked about making tofu
meatballs
tonight, but we didn't have tofu.
Nope. So there are things that you can do right now today if you have iron deficiency anemia and you're not a meat eater. It's manageable.
Yes.
And we're here to support you.
And if you're just joining us now, go back and watch the replay because there's lots of information in this one.
So much. And thank you, Karen, for suggesting it yesterday.
Yeah.
Because people need to know. And we don't always know what people need unless you tell us. So, yeah. Okay. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Kara, glad you found the link today. Glad it popped up right away.
We almost didn't get to start the whole process, but
No.
thank goodness it worked.
Yeah. Okay. If you have questions, shoot us questions. You can send us a message on Facebook. You can send us an email, dysphagiaduo@gmail.com. We're here to serve you.
Yeah. Have a great week, everyone.
All right. See you next week, guys.
Bye.